would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds."
Hey guys, Robert and Ingrid here, and care to say it again?
What was that movie?
Not the biggest what the fuck did I just watch, but up there, right?
Yeah, it started out okay. They had some things that were kind of interesting. We had some people that are just like, hey, the Earthlings are ruining the ocean, so we're gonna send this monster after them. They had this cool robot that was exploring the oceans and got its own pseudo-sentience. It got giga-sized. And then the movie just completely lost the plot.
Exactly. Better than the last one, but not
Definitely
by much.
better than the last one, but it's just like, I was liking it up until about like the midway point, and then it just kind of fell apart under its own weight.
And then has some wackiness at the end. It kind of salvaged it, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, it's just like just
The drop
case
kick.
of, I'm sorry, what the F?
Okay, let me ask, which one do you think is the bigger coming right out of nowhere? The launching himself from Smog Monster, or the drop kick here?
Honestly, I feel like this one came a bit more out of nowhere because it's like, atomic breath? Okay, yeah, I can believe that got propulsion power, but when did Godzilla go get a martial arts course?
And how did his tail hold him up?
Yeah, like,
And he does it twice! He does it twice!
it's just like, what are you doing? I was reminded of the stupid finish we got for Zigra when Gamera sort of like plays his fins like xylophones. I feel like this finishing off of Megalon was like just as stupid as that.
And ironically enough, we both have monsters that came from the ocean.
Yeah, it's just like,
This was like Zigra. This was probably even more like Zigra than any of the other prior movies.
Yeah, it really was. And this was definitely worse. Zigra was definitely a lot better done than this.
Yep, and I will just say this, Gigan is back. He's just as wasted here as Ghidorah was in the last movie. It was like...
Yeah, it's just like, they had this interesting idea, this tag team with Godzilla and this like giant mech and then these two monsters, and then they completely squandered that potential.
And it's like, oh, our allies from that other galaxy, whatever, aren't they all dead?
Yeah, it's just like...
Gigan dead?
Yeah, it's just like, I'm sorry, what? You're not even staying consistent with your own lore, and you don't have that much lore to begin with.
Ghidorah we can understand because this was all before Destroy All Monsters.
This is just... what?
This is like... Yeah, and Gigan was an idiot. He was just like a... He didn't have any of that... Satanist almost, where he's like a yes. You do not get that feeling at all.
It's just like, he's just bland. He's just there for filler.
Mm-hmm. No worth. He's there just so that they can have the contest-winning robot have someone to fight.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, out of all this, I gotta say, Megalon is by far the worst of the villain monsters that have been created, that have had the main spotlight anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Would you
Yeah,
agree
like,
with that?
there's some monsters where it's just like, yeah, they're not that remarkable, but they're kind of relegated to a secondary role anyway, so they're not meant to have the spotlight, whereas this one, yeah.
He
Even
is
in
just
the movies
generic.
that we've really trashed for being bad, we've had some pretty decent monsters that really should have
Gabba?
been in better movies.
Yeah, Gabba, for example, in Godzilla's Revenge. That was a good design.
That was an
Megalon.
interesting monster, it just had the misfortune of being in the worst Godzilla movie.
Yep, and Megalon had a good, decent design, but the building of him, the construction of it, you could so tell the budget was so low.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man.
Especially when Gigan shows up. You're just comparing
It's just
it.
like,
Gigan's the better built.
yeah, it's just like, stop, the budget's already dead.
Mm-hmm. But, and, again, there's some decency with the plot here, like you said, but not a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm trying, and again, we have another invasion, another one.
It's just like, it's the same plot over and over again. They're running out of ideas.
Well, would you say this handle it better than the last one, or do you think the last one did it better by comparison, but just executed worse?
That's a really tough question because they're both bad for their own reasons.
Right, but here...
I feel like here, at least, the reasoning behind the aliens was at least somewhat more original than the last one, but that's about all I can give it.
Yeah, because being from underwater and all that.
Yeah, and sort of like, okay, I can understand that you would want to send something at the people that were messing up your home.
And it's also a case where it's like, you're sharing the same planet.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to the cockroaches, where you're from another galaxy.
Yeah, it's just like, it's different from trying to tell your neighbor to stop dumping stuff on your lawn as opposed to trying to come and take over somebody else's. So it's just like, there was potential here. It was just squandered badly.
Yep. Now, the next time we're going to be going into the Mechagodzilla movies.
I have heard good things about this one, not just from Robert, but from the other kaiju fan in my life, namely the DM of my Dungeons & Dragons group, who apparently has terror of Mechagodzilla as one of his favorites.
Oh, definitely. In fact, I'll tell you this. Versus Mechagodzilla, or the Cosmic Monster, and Terror Mechagodzilla, it's always back and forth which one's the best one. For legitimate reasons.
Well, if there's a legitimate debate over how good these two things are in comparison to another, well, it sounds like I'm in for a treat. Sounds like it's time to bust out the popcorn.
Yep. So we'll be seeing you guys tomorrow, and we'll catch you guys on the other end. See ya.